Let's make a Thanksgiving-themed charcuterie board with delicious foods and a great presentation. It looks fancy, but I promise it's easier to make than getting your kids to eat that green bean casserole. I'll show you what to buy, how to style it, and the quantities that you need for the perfect charcuterie board for 8 to 10 people. The first category that we're going to start with for this board is our cheese. Let's start with a pumpkin-shaped cheese ball, a goat cheese with cranberry, and a delicious sliced Gouda. Into the bowl of my stand mixer, I'm going to add an 8-ounce block of cream cheese, some spices, minced chives, and about a half a cup of pecans. Then we're going to whip this up with our paddle attachment, scrape down the sides of the bowl, and then we're going to add 8 ounces of shredded cheddar cheese. Using a low setting, mix again until all of your cheese is completely combined. Then we're going to transfer all of this to a sheet of plastic wrap. That way you can shape your ball into a small disc that looks kind of like a pumpkin. And then to get our pumpkin-shaped lines, we are going to use either some string or you can use some rubber bands, but we're just going to loop it back and forth across both sides until we have 6 to 8 sections that creates a pumpkin. Go ahead and pop this in the fridge overnight, and then the next day when you're ready to make your charcuterie board, your cheesy pumpkin will be ready to go. For the top of the pumpkin, we are going to cut the stem out of a bell pepper. We're going to clean up the bottom, and then we're just going to smush it down right there in the center so it actually looks like a little pumpkin. Now we're going to move on to our hard cheese. You want about a half a pound of any kind of hard cheese that you like. This one happens to be an Irish Gouda style hard cheese that comes in a square. So I am going to cut lengthwise, thin slices all of the way down. Then to make this easy to serve and to look nice on the board, we're going to offset each slice. So you can see where the slice is. It looks kind of cute. It's easy to pick up and move around when you actually style your board. The third cheese we're going to use on our board is a cranberry cinnamon goat cheese. I picked this because the goat cheese brings a very different flavor compared to my other two, but it has cranberry and cinnamon, which is very Thanksgiving and fall themed to me. So you make sure that you're looking for something seasonal that's going to complement your other cheeses. We are just going to cut off the end and clean it up a little bit so we have that nice bright white on both sides. But this is super easy. All you have to do is put this log directly on your charcuterie board with a knife inside, and it tastes delicious. Our cheese is done. Step number 2 is to fold some meat. For 8 to 10 people, you want about 1 ounce to 1.5 ounces of meat per person. So we're going to do 4 ounces each of prosciutto, salami, and some smoked turkey. So put your gloves on if you want, and then let's style some meat. The first one I'm going to prep is my salami. So we're going to take a slice of salami, fold it in half, and then a half again. So you have a little salami quarter. You're going to do that with another slice and then tuck them into each other so they make kind of this little ribbon pattern. They stack up really well. They support each other. They're kind of cute. They're super easy to serve. As I'm getting all of my salami folded, I like to tuck it into a rectangular snapwork container because it's going to hold their shape nice and tight for me, and it's going to keep them out of the way while I finish the rest of my board. I always love putting prosciutto on my boards, but it can be a little tricky to style in a nice serving size. So what I like to do is to cut it in half, and then I take that little half a slice and I accordion fold it into 3 sections. So I go back, forth, and back again, and then I fold it in half. So like this, it's an easy piece to serve. It looks kind of like a little ribbon or a little flower. Let me show you that again. So go back and forth, folding it into 3s, and then fold that in half. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna pull all of these together in a big train, and it just makes it easy to serve. It looks nice. You can move it around if you need to, but that's my favorite option for prosciutto. So to lean into our Thanksgiving flavors, we're going to do some smoked turkey. So this is just a honey smoked turkey from my grocery store. I'm going to cut these big slices in half like we did with the prosciutto, and then we're going to roll them up. They're easy to serve. It's a good amount per person if they want to take one, pair it with a cheese and a cracker. So those are all of the meats for our board. Now we can move on to our fruit. So you want about 2 cups total of fruit for your charcuterie board. So you have the choice of buying your pomegranate seeds separate already or buying a whole pomegranate and cutting out the seeds individually. So I just popped off the top, got my seeds out into some water, and then I moved on to my red pear. So thin slices of red pear. I love the color combination of the bright red next to the clean white. And then we're gonna prepare some green grapes. So what I like to do after I wash them is to cut them into clusters of about 3 to 5 grapes. It makes them easy to serve. It helps them hold up together and not roll all over the charcuterie board, but easy to pick up, easy to serve. Putting together the meat and the cheese is definitely the harder part because that's where that specialty presentation comes in. Once you get that done, your fruit is prepped, you can start laying out the board, and then we're gonna fill it in with all of our little extra stuff like mixed nuts and our crackers. So let's do that. So for the bread group, I have a baguette that I'm going to thinly slice, and then I have a couple different kinds of crackers. My son Jack loves candy corn, so I found this autumn mix candy corn that I'm going to put on the board, and it's very festive. We've got little pumpkins, Thanksgiving colors. That's going to go on there too. And then we have some honey roasted mixed nuts, has that salty sweet crunch. And then we're going to do our spread. So I have a fig spread, a whole grain mustard, and then a mesquite honey, which is going to pair perfectly with my turkey. All right, let's lay out our board. So I always like to start with a cheese for the centerpiece. So since this is a full pound of a pumpkin shaped cream cheese ball, that's gonna go in the center. Then in one of the corners, we're gonna do our cranberry goat cheese. And then on the opposite side of the board, we'll do our sliced hard cheese. So we have a little bit of balance, a little bit of symmetry. So just like I did my cheese in the opposite corners, we're going to do the same thing with fruit. So my big green grapes on one side, my sliced red pears on the other. Then you can add on your meat. You can start adding on all of your extras, and then I'll show you how we fill it in. This is all you have to do. Okay, so some final tips for you. Have fun when you're doing this. Get excited about the items that you choose, whatever cheeses you find, whatever meats you find. Have fun doing it because I promise it will come through. If this is your first time ever making a charcuterie board, it's gonna be the hardest. But once you do it and you try, you're gonna feel so much better, and you're gonna be super excited that you made this to put out for everyone, and you're gonna have a great time. Okay. So I really hope this video was helpful. If you like fancy but easy food, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe so you can come back. I've got more ideas for you that are just like this, especially going into the holidays. And now go do it. Go let your light shine.